Hello everyone and welcome to EH for Enthusiasts. Here's what's coming up. As London Mayor Sadiq Khan sets out his new plans to introduce 10 new Superloops, we look at the three major ones which are being talked about: the Bakerloop 1, Superloop 11 and SL12, which all feature in his next plans. Also ahead, we look back to my reports on the SL11 and Bakerloop 1 and show what this could mean for their local communities. And finally, new changes to Southeast London serving 161. And what do these new timings mean for the local community? We discuss how this is going to benefit all of the passengers and reduce waiting times. Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm EH for Enthusiast in London. Tonight, we start off by talking about TfL's map, which shows 10 new Superloop routes which will be coming into place. The initial rollout of Transport for London's TfL Superloop routes are almost complete, with the SL4 linking between Grove Park and Canary Wharf starting service as soon as the Silvertown Tunnel opens on April 7th. But London Mayor Sadiq Khan said that he wants to double that number of Superloop services from the existing 10 in the coming years. He's already started that plan by introducing the Bakerloop 1, also known as the Bakerloop, which is likely to be the next introduced express bus service into London by TfL. The service would run between Waterloo and Lewisham, as well as stopping at Elephant and Castle, Burgess Park, Old Kent Road, and New Cross Gate. The second route, which is planned to be added, is the SL11, which will be replacing the existing 472, which runs from Abbey Wood to North Greenwich, and instead will be serving as an express route, limiting its stops between Plumstead, Charlton, Woolwich, Abbey Wood, and North Greenwich. TfL has already launched the consultation for that, for both of these routes, and the third confirmed one by TfL is the SL12, which would run between Rainham, Ferry Lane, Gants Hill via Romford. Now, TfL have already unveiled the plans for the SL12, which is a proposed addition to the Superloop Express bus service network, which aims to connect Rainham's Ferry Lane with Gants Hill via Romford, extending the Superloop further into outer London. The SL12 is designed to improve access, burgeoning industrial and business districts in the southern Havering by enhancing the north-south transportation links. A notable feature of the SL12 is its facilitation of seamless interchanges within the transport service, where passengers will have more convenient connections to the SL2 routes, the London Underground at Gants Hill and both Romford Station. The integration is expected to be streamlined across different parts of London, offering more efficient and flexible journey options. The introduction of the SL12 is part of a broader initiative to expand the Superloop network, which was first launched in 2023. The Superloop provides quicker journey times to key locations such as town centres, hospitals, schools, and transport interchanges, thereby promoting sustainable bus travel in outer London. The current network, with 310 other bus routes, 49 railway stations, and 23 rail lines, significantly enhancing connectivity. They have announced that the consultation will offer Londoners opportunities to provide their feedback on the proposed route, ensuring that there is the service which meets to the customers' needs and the local community. The engagement within the local resident and stakeholders is also a crucial way in implementation plans. The SL12 is one of the several new routes which are planned by Sadiq Khan. Another one, which is the SL11, which we did talk about, running between Greenwich, North Greenwich, Abbey Wood, Thamesmead, Woolwich, as part of the regeneration plans in Thamesmead and proposal extensions to the DLR. These developments do underscore TfL's commitment in enhancing public transport and connectivity capacities in Outer London. By introducing this, it will provide a more sustainable travel option, encouraging a shift away from private car use and contributing to the city's environmental goals. Now, in terms of what we can see so far, here on the screen is a map of the current SL11, which is being proposed by TfL, as you can see, running between Abbey Wood, Thamesmead, Woolwich, Charlton, and North Greenwich. Although there are only confirmed additions to the existing Superloop networks, the London Mayor has previously released the map showing where the routes could further go. North of the river, this could see further routes created, such as routes going to Ealing Broadway to Hendon via Hanger Lane and Brent Cross, Hounslow to Hammersmith via Great West Road, Harrow to Barnet via Edgware, Barnet to Stratford via Enfield, Chingford and Walthamstow, and further 3 routes which could be created are Kingston to Ealing Broadway via Great West Road, Richmond to Wimbledon via Roehampton, and Elton to Streatham via Tulse Hill and Lee. And you can see that map on the screen right now. However, these routes are subject to change as it's clear to these updated proposals for the BL1 SL11 and SL12. The initial Superloop map shows the BL1 stopping at Elephant and Castle, travelling between Waterloo as well. Similarly to TfL, they've extended SL11 to Abbey Wood, which will shrink the route of the SL12, which is no longer set to call at Leytonstone. In terms of the Bakerloop 1, we can look back to my interview, my recording, which I done talking about it last year. Here's that report. On Tuesday, he proposed the extended Superloop Express bus network to provide an alternative to the unfunded £10 billion Bakerloo line extension. The Mayor promised to bring forward a Bakerloop limited stop service that would link Elephant and Castle and Lewisham. The proposed first section of this long, envisaged tube extension, if he's re-elected on May the 2nd. This would track the route of the extension for which Transport for London has failed to secure government funding by calling at Burgess Park, Old Kent Road and New Cross Gate. Precise details, cost or a launch date have not been published, but the Bakerloop would have fewer stops than the current bus route 21, which currently serves at Old Kent Road and Lewisham in approximately 36 minutes. The buses would be fitted in a brown Bakerloo-styled colour scheme, including the same moquette seating that matches the tube line. The first part of the Superloop network launched last July of 2023. 9 of the 10 sections are now in place, most recently the SL2 linking Walthamstow Central and North Woolwich, the SL3 linking Thamesmead and Bromley, and the SL5 linking Bromley North and Croydon. The final part of the network, which is the SL4 linking Grove Park and Canary Wharf, will not start running until summer next year, as the route will go through the Silver Line Tunnel, which is yet to be built. The Superloop is part of a £6 billion investment in the Outer London bus network that aims to get Londoners out of cars. 4 of the 9 sections were already in existence but have been rebranded and had their frequencies doubled. Mr. Khan said, quote, "The new Superloop services have been a huge success in Outer London so far, and if I'm re-elected, the new Bakerloop Express will help Londoners get between Elephant and Castle and Old Kent Road, New Cross and Lewisham much quicker and easily. I continue to make the case as strongly as ever that we need the Bakerloo line tube extension to get underway as soon as possible, and TfL are lobbying ministers about the funding the project and meeting the needs of it. In the meantime, I'm determined that we will do well to provide the very best services across South London." In spite of that, critics claim the Superloop is little more than a cosmetic makeover. The buses on the SL3 route are rebranded Boris Route Masters rather than zero-emission vehicles, while only single-deckers can be used on the SL5 due to low trees. Suzanne Hall, the Tory mayoral candidate, said, "This blunderloop is yet another super flop from Mr. Khan. Instead of delivering the much-needed Bakerloo line extension, Sadiq Khan has decided to settle for a bus." Victor Chamberlain, leader of the opposition Lib Dem group on Southwark Council, said, "Labour are trying to pull the wool over people's eyes with flashy gimmicks, but everyone can see that it's just a distraction from the mayor's failure to deliver the Bakerloo line extension. Only in Labour-run London would we see a bus replacement service before the train was even built." According to TfL, the 4 express routes that were rebranded to Superloop routes have seen an increase in passenger numbers, 15% higher than London-wide increase in bus travel. However, the loss of the passengers on the parallel routes is factored in. There have been a 3-point overall increase. TfL said that it was too early to assess the impact of the 5 totally new routes. An update is expected by the autumn. However, 9 in 10 passengers said that the experience on the Superloop was better than other TfL buses. Last month, a report backed by TfL warned that the Bakerloo line was at risk of critical failure without an urgent overhaul and a replacement of its 52-year-old trains. 2 years ago, the cost of the extension to Lewisham was estimated at between 5.2 billion and 8.7 billion in 2021. Prices plus a further 800 million to 1.9 billion for the second leg to Hayes. However, neither the new trains nor the extension is included in TfL's business plans, which sets out investment priorities to 2026-2027. And in terms of the SL11, here is what we talked about on the last podcast, where we talked about its introduction and what it could mean for the local community which it's going to serve. In Superloop 2, which will feature one route in southeast London, 472 being rebranded as SL11. Now, this proposal aims to enhance London's connectivity between North Greenwich, Abbey Wood, and Thamesmead, and you'll see it passing through, obviously, North Greenwich, Thamesmead, Woolwich, and Charlton. The introduction of the SL11 is poised to replace the existing 472. This transition is intended to offer passengers a faster and more efficient journey by reducing the number of stops, focusing on major destinations along the corridor. The SL11 will integrate seamlessly with the broader Superloop network, facilitating convenient interchanges and with other express routes. Notably, it will connect the route with SL3 at Abbey Wood and Thamesmead, enhancing accessibility to various parts of London. Now, in terms of the enhancements, the buses operating on SL11 will feature the distinctive Superloop branding, including the Superloop roundel and the red-white bus wrap. Additional customer experience improvements such as USB charging ports are also being considered to elevate passenger comfort. Now, the proposed changes underscore TfL's commitment to improving public transport connectivity and capacity in southeast London. By delivering express bus services like SL11, TfL aims to support ongoing and future regeneration efforts such as the areas in Thamesmead and to facilitate better access to central London. Public consultations, however, regarding the SL11 proposal are expected to commence later this year, providing an opportunity for residents and stakeholders to offer feedback and engage with the planning process. On your screen now, you can see the visual representation of areas which are covered by the current serving route 472, which you can see goes from Abbey Wood to places like Woolwich, Plumstead, Charlton, and North Greenwich. And TfL does aim to shorten this to make it more faster and to also reduce the amount of delays and congestion along this area. Now, some questions which might be asked by certain people within TfL and people who want to know what would go on have asked if there are any plans to adjust the other local bus routes alongside this change. Now, to answer this, as of now, TfL have said that they're not disclosing any specific plans to adjust other local bus routes in conjunction with the introduction of SL11. However, they've said that public consultations regarding the SL11 are expected to commence later this year. These consultations will offer an opportunity for residents and stakeholders to provide feedback which may be influential in potential adjustments to other local services, such as the 180, which runs from Erith to North Greenwich, and to ensure that there is a cohesive and efficient transport network. Now, it is important to note that the Superloop routes are designed to as express services, stopping at only key locations to reduce journey times. The operational model differs from traditional local bus routes, which typically have more frequent stops. Therefore, the introduction of SL11 may meet necessities and be reviewed of existing local services to maintain comprehensive coverage and meet diverse travel needs of the community. Although, if you want to do few further upcoming consultations, you can check on TfL's official consulting platforms. Another question which was asked was, how will SL11 impact travel times compared to the route 472? They do say that it's aimed at only reaching the key areas such as Abbey Wood, North Greenwich, Charlton, and Woolwich. It is to offer more direct and faster journeys compared to the 472, but as of now, there's no disclosed travel times which have been released by TfL on how long it would take between all of those stops in total. Another question which was asked are if there are any plans to extend the SL11 beyond North Greenwich in the future. They have said that for now, there is a very slim chance of it being extended past North Greenwich. They will look again in spring 2025 whilst they are doing these public consultations and see if there would be any modifications required. Now, for those of you who are unaware, the 472 is a high-frequency route that was extended from North Greenwich to Abbey Wood in recent years to link up with the new opening of the Elizabeth line in 2022. It used to be running towards Thamesmead, but it was shortly reduced to Abbey Wood. Unlike the SL3, the 472 heads through West Thamesmead, unlike the SL3. But will the SL11, it would be rather less express, but it would cut off the key link. Another big question was whether another express bus for North Thamesmead would see Peabody finally built the acres of land in North Thamesmead. Probably not, but given the actions at South Thamesmead within meters of Abbey Wood Station, that and an absence of an area consortium approved by the outline master plan, let alone detailed submissions. TfL are still monitoring the DLR extension to Thamesmead to link to the SL11. Through that, it would prohibit the restaurant of another project scrapped by Boris Johnson in 2009, alongside Greenwich Waterfront Transit, GWT, where he had initially planned to create something similar to what the SL11 was back in 2009 as well. The DLR extension would have passed through Barking Riverside, with 4 stops past Beckton Riverside and passing sites where houses total were doubled to 20k alone last autumn. Dagenham 2 has plans in New Thousands to build more homes around Dagenham Dock Station. DLR extension plans to Dagenham Dock were scrapped by Boris Johnson in his term as mayor. A London Overground extension is now in place, but as 4 trains per hour, the limited length that do not head directly to central London, that does not appear sufficient for a new doubled at 20k plus homes. Given Peabody's recent history all across Thamesmead, Superloop 11 will probably be the most welcomed by those in Woolwich and Charlton who gain an express bus service to North Greenwich, where homes are actually on the rise. The new route will also save some blushes, as with a 2026 deadline to start, millions would have spent for a bus to North Thamesmead when Peabody had no intention of building any homes there for many years. At least now, it heads west, further areas of construction. One wonders just how the infrastructure needs to be built before Peabody do any speed up on the acres of land around Thamesmead. 11 years after taking control and almost a decade after being awarded grants and loans as part of a housing zone, the Elizabeth line's arrival. No, a Superloop route in SL3 linking areas in to the Elizabeth line. No. Now, another Superloop is on its way. £23 million further funds. But would a DLR even spur them on? That's the main question. Better to resurgent the Dagenham Dock DLR extension instead of Thamesmead to serve thousands more homes in Beckton, Barking, and Dagenham. But as SL11 is procuring for higher capacity and higher frequency trams across Thamesmead beyond, as once proposed by TfL themselves. Now we can see that there's been a massive growth in certain areas of homes, such as Erith. There's been 6,000 homes which have been built. In Belvedere, 8,000, with 2,000 now being approved. Charlton, 8,000 homes planned, approved for the next coming years. North Greenwich, 20,000 homes, which are set to be built, and some around Morden Wharf as well. And remember that the consultation for the SL11 will close on the 13th of April. So make sure you head down to the TfL website to have your say. And finally tonight, before we finish, we would like to quickly talk about what was significant yesterday. Yesterday, we would have seen timing changes to the Route 161 serving from Chislehurst War Memorial to North Greenwich. Now, their new timing shows that you can expect buses to now run every 15 minutes instead of every 20 minutes in the early mornings before 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday to Fridays, every 20 minutes instead of every 30 minutes in the early mornings before 7:45 on Saturdays, and every 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes in the early mornings before 9:15 on Sundays. If you want to look at more of these updates to your local routes, just head to tfl.gov.uk/buses. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and goodbye from London.